Not all those who wander are lost. These timeless words by J.R.R. Tolkien perfectly capture the essence of today's guest, Mr. George, a traveler and a storyteller from Austria, whose life is a celebration of exploration. From walking across Europe to Jerusalem and back, and hiking in the majestic Himalayas or traveling in Africa, George has found beauty and meaning in every step of his journey. Rooted in his Austrian countryside home, his adventures bring together history, culture, and nature, inspiring us all to embrace the world with curiosity and an open heart. Welcome to another exciting podcast on Stories with Venky. Join me as we uncover the incredible stories and lessons that make life's journey truly extraordinary. So, George, how are you?
I'm very fine. Thank you, Venkat, for inviting me to this interview. I'm very fine. I'm sitting here in my house in Austria, and it's autumn now, late autumn. The leaves are getting colorful, wonderful weather here now. And I remember very well our when we met around, was it now 4 years ago? That
5
we met
years.
each other? Or 5 years? Yes, that's right. 5 years, yes. 2019 it was, yes. Before COVID. Before BC. BC. Before COVID.
Yes.
And it was in the Nepali mountains. Yes, so, yeah, thanks. How are you? How are you, Venkat?
I'm doing good, going good.
Okay, that's fine. You have
That's
a lovely girl. I must say.
Thank you.
I remember when we met last time in 2019 or 2020, it was then later on. I think it was then in the southern parts of India.
We met in December in
Okay.
the Everest region. After
Mm-hmm.
that, in 2020 January, we met in Bangalore.
Yeah, it was then in Bangalore. Yeah, right.
Just tell me about you first to start with. How you been brought up and where exactly are you from?
Yeah, this is a good question. I was born exactly in this house where I'm sitting now. So I was born just one floor up from here. So if I look up there, 5 meters away from here, probably I was born in 1965. So I'm getting 60 years old now. And I spent here the first 10 years of my life in this house where I'm living now again. And then my parents built another house, and then we moved to this other house, which was also not far away, only 100 meters away from here. We moved there. Then I started to go to the secondary school. And then we moved, the whole family, I have two sisters also, two elder sisters. We moved all the 5 of us to Linz, which is a town near about 30 kilometers away from here. So the house where I'm living now, this is in the middle of the countryside. It's outside of a small village. So we say in Austria, this is the area where the fox and the rabbit say good night to each other. It's in the very in the forest somewhere. So it's very calm, very silent here. Very good air, fresh air, lots of nature. So good living quality. And then we moved to Linz, to this town, when I was around 14, 15 years old. And there I passed my final school exams. And when I was 18, I started studying business. I went then to Vienna, to the capital of Austria, spent there around 30 years of my life. And then in 2014, so around 10 years ago now, my father died, who was living in this house where I am now. And then I decided to take over this house. And since around 10 years, I'm living again in this house. So I quit my flat in Vienna and moved back to the countryside. And when we met in 2019, I was already here in this house. Somebody looked after me when I'm traveling. So I have very nice neighbors. They're looking after the house. And so when I come back, I have a place to stay. How do you call these places where all the people gather around in the altitude of about 5,000 meter and you're cooking? How do you call this area? This is the
Base camp.
Base camp. Yes, that's the word. Yeah. So my base camp here in Austria is this house where I'm staying here now, and it's nice to have a kind of base camp in your country, so you know this is the place where you can always come back, where you are from, where your roots are from.
Yes.
And this house actually has a long history. Just around a few days ago, I celebrated the 100. It's 300 years old. This house. I think it could tell a lot of stories if the house could talk. And it was just a few days ago we celebrated the 150 year that my ancestors moved over here. So I'm in the fifth generation here in this house. So. And probably the last one, because there is no small baby girl like you have. Yeah. So yeah, this I think this house could tell many stories, and I think you said also you would like to hear some things from the past. Probably in your country, people know that we had. 2 world wars here. Well, not only here, but all over the world. That's why we call it world wars. But especially here, it originated more or less. Let's say it this way. And definitely, this house, my grandfather was part of the army in the 40s of the last century. I don't remember anymore the First World War. That's too long ago. I think my grandfather probably was also part of it, but I have no oral information about this. I know some stories about the Second World War because my mother's father was part of it, and he was not in the very first row, where the people are really fighting, but he was in Austria, somewhere in the communication area, this is where he took part. And yeah, for sure we had I think, in what I remember, my mother was born in 1939, so just before in November 39. So actually the war started already at this time. And she can remember a little bit because the war finished 45. So she knows some stories from her father, and she can remember that when the war was over, that the Russians and the Americans were here, and peace is granted. And yeah, in 1945 the war was finished, and 10 years later, only then Austria became neutral and a separate country. So from 1955 onwards, we became a separate country. And since then, we are neutral. So that's from the history. My grandparents, they lived more or less from agriculture. They were all self-sufficient. They grew their potatoes and garbage and salad, and had 2 cows. They had their own milk. They had 2 pigs. to get the meat from, and they had 10 or 15 chicken to have the eggs. So they were very self-sufficient. And even my mother, when I was born in 1965, they had the 2 cows until the year 1974. So I remember when I was in my childhood, we still had a small agriculture, and I still remember the time when we had in this house where I'm now, we had still 2 cows, and my mother was milking the cows. And when I was a small boy, I drank this milk still from the cows. So I had the luck to get this good quality of milk. Because I think when we drink the milk from the supermarket, I'm not sure anymore what is still inside this kind of milk. Anyway, it's still white, and yeah. So I like this. I like this. This kind of life again. So that's good. But I'm talking too much. You must tell me what you would like to know, Venky. Yeah. People tell you Venky. I see. Do the people tell you Venky?
My name is Venkat, and
Yes.
many people normally Venkat. The nickname for this particular name, Venkat, is Venky in my area, where I'm from. I'm from south of India. So there is this film actor Venkatesh, and his name is Venky. So
I see.
I thought I could use this as my nickname, and most of the people call me Venky.
Are you actually also from Hyderabad, like Saffron, or?
I'm not from Hyderabad. I worked in Hyderabad for some time, but I am from 400 kilometers south of Hyderabad.
All right, so direction of Chennai, somewhere there.
Yes.
Or
yes.
Yeah.
Actually, Chennai is closer for us.
Okay. But on the eastern part, on the eastern part of southern India.
On the east coast.
All right. Yeah, I remember. I remember you told me.
And I speak Telugu language. Telugu.
Okay. Yeah, I know there are more different kind of languages in India. Hindi is only one of them. Yes. And isn't Hindi? This is the high national language. So everybody in India learns Hindi in school, right? Is that right? Or
everybody learns Hindi, but see, Hindi is part of our education.
Yes.
It is like some people learn, some people don't learn. But exam for schools, we pass the exam Hindi. People they talk in their local language or English. South Indians. North India, their mother tongue is Hindi. Most of the places they speak Hindi. But in the Northeast, it's Bengali mostly. Bengali, Assami. There are 5-6 different languages.
Okay. For me, every kind of language was difficult. I was there in 2020 then, when we met in Bangalore.
Yeah.
And I remember it was very difficult. I visited many temples at this time. In some, I was allowed to get in some not, because I think it has something to do also with the religion. You have to be, I don't know, you have to be Hindi or Hindu. Or Hindu. Hindi is the language. Hindu is the person, right? So I think in some temples I was allowed, in some not, but beautiful even from outside. And I loved very much the food there in southern India. In the whole India, it's wonderful, but it's very different in the southern parts again. And you inspired me, actually. Yes, you inspired me when we met in Nepal in the mountains. You and Shafran were there. And I told you about my plans to visit India. And I remember I was sitting 1 or 2 evenings together with you. Yes. And you told me, okay, you gave me a nice itinerary. You wrote me down, okay, this is the continent, subcontinent India. And you go first here, then you go here, and you go down on the west side, and you travel back up on the eastern part of southern India. So I think this is more or less. I spent then 3 months in southern India. I remember I took the train from Varanasi to Mumbai, and then down all the places down to Kerala, and on the other side back up. And then when I was traveling up, when I was sitting in the train I met then Shafran. Well, I met you in Bangalore. I met Shafran in Hyderabad. And I remember when I took the train from Hyderabad to Varanasi, then this was in springtime, February 2020. And remember, I heard the first time from COVID.
Yeah.
Some people were saying, okay, there are a few cases in China, there are a few cases here. But don't worry. And I remember at the border between India and Nepal, that was around the 20th of February 2020, there were already examinations and doctors checking the health status. So it started already. And 2-3 weeks later, I went back to Nepal. I went the Annapurna Trail, because I thought, okay, Annapurna Trail normally is quite crowded, very popular. But at this time, when I was there, I was nearly every evening, I was the only one, because there were only 4 or 5 people going with me. And so it was, from this time, it was good timing from that. But then at one time they stopped us. Fortunately, I was already over the pass and was already on the other side. But then we had to go back. 1 week later, we were brought back by an aeroplane. But I must say, the people in Nepal were very helpful, very nice to the people who were stranded there. I have very nice memories. How did you experience the first year or the first 1 or 2 years in your
First
country?
1 year, it was a nightmarish, difficult time for me. So my baby is born during the first phase of peak season of COVID, and we are in Bangalore. Transportation problems, all that. It was quite difficult, and then getting these tests done. After that, after my baby is born, later my grandmother passed away. COVID attacks in every family that around, and we started losing people. It was a very difficult time for everybody. And then here, every individual story will be equally, like, you'll see, I have suffered so much than anybody else kind of feeling.
Is it still a subject now, actually? Is it still...
No more. No more. COVID is gone. Nobody cares. Next time, if COVID kind of pandemic occurs, I don't think so. People will be much that kind of panic won't be there.
So you think there will be less panic, the people?
I don't think so. There will be any kind of panic.
No panic at all, you think?
Okay. Because we have seen already what is the worst. So, okay, it is like another kind of disease. Okay, let it come and go.
Yeah.
So that was the situation, but now it is normal.
It's back to normal, yes.
Normal. How many Asian countries you have visited, and then what is your experience?
First of all, I think I only know a bit of India. I was a few times now in India. One time I was very shortly, I think this was in 1996. I flew to Calcutta, and this is West Bengal. What's called West Bengal. Traveled up to Darjeeling, and from there I traveled into Nepal and did some hiking in Nepal and flew back home from Kathmandu. So then the second time I traveled, this was a travel when I traveled from from Austria to Indonesia overland. So I came over from I know I was visiting Punjab, Ladakh, this area, the northern part, Delhi, Varanasi, this area, I remember. And the third time was actually when we met. I visited more the southern part. But there are many more things, very, very different, I must say. In India, every state is somehow different. Also in Meghalaya, I remember I was in the northeastern states. That was also very interesting. Every state is somehow different in terms of people, culture, language, food, and so on, and also from the countryside. And yeah, so I would say, and otherwise I traveled in many other Asian countries, but what I can say, it's very safe for me all over the world. It's very safe traveling in Asia in general. That's what I can say in comparison to other parts of the world. I feel very safe. For me, it's actually the safest place to travel. I never lost something. I got never robbed. I was never kidnapped. I was never. Okay, when I lost something, then it was my own fault. So, and very beautiful, very different. You have the different people, different nations, different languages, different landscapes. You have the big mountains in Nepal and India. You have the 6,000 islands of Indonesia. You can travel in India, where you have, in fact, the whole world in one country. Then you can go to Japan, to China. I started in 2016 to travel to Indonesia overland, and then I spent 1.5 years in Asia, and then in 2018 I traveled back with the Trans-Siberian Railway from Vladivostok to Moscow and St. Petersburg. I spent 3 months in Russia. Beautiful country, also beautiful people. The Russian soul is still alive, and very nice people. So very, very diverse, I must say, and very interesting. I hope to get back soon again to Asia. Yeah.
Is it a holiday you travel, or how did you manage this long time travels?
This is for me. This is always I travel always on my own, so there's no business involved in this. And I worked for an American IT company called IBM, and the advantage of this company is that they offer to their employees kind of sabbatical years. I don't know whether you have heard about this. I guess so. And so that allows you to leave the company for, let's say, 1 year, 1.5 year, and you're still employed with this company, and they promise to take you back when you finish this. And you can do this several times. Actually, I did it now 3 times already with this company, and okay, you don't get the whole salary when you are not working. That would be nice, because then everybody would do it. But okay, but you get still a certain amount, and you're still insured with the company. That's also important, because just in case you get ill, you are insured. And okay, so that was time-wise. The company allowed me to take off this time, and otherwise I had some savings from the work that I have done before, and I live on, you know how we travel. We travel on quite low budget. We say, for sure there are always people who travel with less budget, but okay, I don't need to sleep in a 5-star hotel. 4 stars also enough. No, I'm joking. I sleep normally. I sleep in hostels, in dormitories. I have no
Yes.
problem with this, and in this way you can also save a lot of money, and this is how I could manage to make all these travels. And just the last travel was about walking to Jerusalem. I came back about 1 year ago. I started in 2022 with walking from Austria to Jerusalem.
We will come to that part.
Okay.
Not now.
Okay.
We'll come to that part in some time. Before that,
All
I
right.
have a couple of questions about German language.
Yes.
Austria used to be part of this Bavarian kingdom in the past. So Bavaria is the part of the Europe continent where they speak German language, right?
Yeah.
So a brief story about Bavarian kingdom, and then how it is splitted into parts.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good question. Well, Bavaria is very close to my place where I'm living actually now. I think if I sit into the car and want to go to Bavaria in about 1 hour, I'm in Bavaria. 1 hour's drive from here, so quite close. That was. I must say, I'm not a professor in history, I must say, but it's a few hundred years ago already that all Austria nowadays Austria and Bavaria at this time was united in one place. The Bavarians. This was ruled by Bavarian kings. I mean, the Bavarians talk very, very similar because we have also in German, we have also different dialects. Yeah, the Bavarians talk very similar to the Austrians, and they were united, and there is also the northern part of Germany, which is borders to Denmark or Finland. They speak very high German, very correct German. So the more north you go in Germany, the clearer you can understand this language. The Austrians, the Swiss, especially the Swiss people, the German speaking part of Switzerland, and the Bavarians, they speak a stronger dialect. I think, as I said, this was a few 100 years ago. Then we also had this Austrian-Hungarian Empire, which probably you remember, which also Bohemia, parts of Czechia, was parts of Poland, Galicia, and Ukraine, and parts of nowadays Italy was part of it. So, and also Hungary. But that was then the next step. And then, then we had, in 1914, more than 100 years ago, our throne successor, Franz Ferdinand, was shot in Sarajevo. Probably you remember this, and also his wife, Sophie. They were shot there, and this actually started then the First World War, and the Austrian Emperor Franz Joseph, his name was 1914. He declared the war to Serbia, I remember, and then the whole First World War started, and we know the result of it. So Austria, Germany, we lost the war, and then also this was the end of the monarchy here in Austria, and then at this time we lost a lot of territory. The whole country was then more or less reduced to more or less the same size as it is now. It's a small country really now. I think even Gujarat, the state Gujarat is 10 times bigger than Austria, I guess. Anyway, so we have around 8 million people now living in Austria. How many people live in Gujarat, in your state? 80.
Not more than that, more than your country population.
Definitely. So you see, and so that's the size now, and we still have good relationship with the Bavarians. I go a few times a year to Munich to see some friends there. In general, I must say the relationship between Austrians and Germans, and even with other people, with other states, even French, English people, just a few days ago we talked about this because we were in war with the French people, with the British people. We lost the war against these people, and still now I have a lot of friends there. So even this is actually a sign of hope that people can forgive each other, and it's only a question of time, I think, and that would bring me now to the topic of Israel and Palestine again, because that's the same place where people say they never forgive each other. Never say never. Never say never. It's possible, I think. So I think the people can forgive each other, and the Bavarians have very similar customs. They like to drink beer. They like to drink. They like to eat. Yeah, we are beer drinkers. We Austria, Germany. They like also wine. They like water, maybe, but in general, the most famous drink here is they like to eat white sausages with mustard, and this is these are a few things that I remember, but otherwise they're very also like socializing with each other, and very relaxed people, more relaxed probably than the Germans from the northern part of it. But this is I would say
What is the daily food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
in Austria or in
Yeah, in
Austria.
Austria.
Yeah, what did I have today? Because now it's always seasonal, depending. Now I collected lots of apples from the trees because they are ripe now. So I just made today morning. I made I I cut the apples, put them into a machine, and make a kind of apple which you give to the small people, to the babies. I don't know, like apple porridge or something.
Mm.
Yeah, something like that. So that's what I was eating. But normally, if that's not the case, I like to eat muesli also in the morning with a fruit to it, or I eat with a piece of bread with butter and jam. People like to eat bread here. I think for us, the bread is like for you, the rice, for
Yeah.
instance. Yeah. So, and yeah, then for lunch, what do we eat for lunch? Most people like to eat meat for lunch, whatever kind of meat. I also eat sometimes meat. I also like to eat a lots of vegetables, pasta, and then also rice, curries. I started this year. I started to cook. I bought a book about different curries, also Indian curries. So, and it's not so easy, but it's possible to make them, and it's good. And yeah, but if I see, let's see, my neighbors, they eat chicken, pork, uh, uh, every kind of turkey, also cow. And
Yeah.
I know that would not be possible in your country. Definitely, yeah, this is different, and they eat salad, potatoes, uh, all that kind. And the kitchen from Austria is very similar to the kitchen in Bavaria, to Czechia, to Italy. It's very much influenced from our neighbors. Very international. If you go into the bigger cities, it's more international. Let's say in Vienna, you have lots of Greek, Italian, Indian, uh, Vietnamese, all kind of different food um, from outside of the country. But in the countryside, you have more the traditional food that the people used to eat here over the last years and centuries. Yeah.
How is the weather there? In a year, what is the weather
In a
system?
year. Okay, so we have actually not so much like in your country. I think you have more the rainy season and the dry season. More depending also where in India for sure. We have more the cold and the hot season. Now actually the colder season is starting. The winter time is starting now. So now it's autumn. We have around 15 degrees outside. It's beautiful weather still, not too cold. Nice for hiking actually this time now of the year. Then in November, December, it starts snowing. But also with the climate change, the winters also changed. The winters are not so strong anymore than they were when I was a child. We had much more snow in general. Anyway, so if there is snow, then I would say it's normally between December and March, April. Then in March, April, springtime is starting. It's getting warmer again. Snow is melting, 15, 20 degrees. And then from May onwards, it's getting warm, 20, 25. May, June, it's a nice time to travel also here. It's not too hot already. And then in July, August, you have the summer. It's about 30, 35 degrees. July, August, the children have holidays during this time of the year. People go on holiday normally. They take vacation. Mid of September, school starts again, and then in September, October, the autumn starts. It's cooling down again, and yeah, it's about the season here in Austria for sure. Also depending where you are in Austria, because we have a lot of mountains also, but for sure not that high than in India. These are hills. We have hills.
Yes.
We have hills here our mountains are the maximum is even not 4,000 meters high. The highest one, 3,800 and something like that. But for sure, people live up there. They have a different climate than, for instance, in Vienna, which lies on an altitude of 200 meters, and it's especially in the eastern part of Austria, it's flatter, less mountains, it's warmer. It's towards the Hungarian part, and even Hungary is very flat, nearly no mountains. It's very warm, normally very warm and sunny in this part of Austria. In the eastern part, it's more sunny than in the western part.
And which religion you practice?
Oh, I must say, I was born without any religion. Yeah. Then my parents baptized me. At the age of I was around 14 days old. They baptized me and they said, okay, this boy should have the name George. And from this time, I was Roman Catholic.
Okay.
I was Roman Catholic. And I was Roman Catholic until the age of, I'd say around 26, 27. And then in the 90s, there were lots of problems within the Roman Catholic Church. Lots of disuse and corruption and, all that things that can happen within. I exit the church. So from that age onwards, the last 30 years, I'm without any religion. For me, the religion is not so important. I find them very interesting, religions. But for me, always the person is important, not the religion. Yeah. And the heart is important. And it doesn't matter if it's Hindu, if it's Buddhist, if it's Catholic, if it's Muslim or Jew. I don't care. For me, the person is important.
In India, we have every religion that is existing in the world.
Yeah, you have in your country, you also have more or less all religions. Because I remember in Kerala, you have quite lots of Christians living there, and Muslims for sure also, then Hindi and Buddhists for sure.
All religions exist almost in every state. It's a conglomerate country of religions.
And is it easy to get ahead with this, or?
See, we practice Hindu. There are no restrictions in Hindu religion that you cannot learn about other religions. You just respect everybody. See, every house in itself is a world. You go into their house and then you respect their culture. That's it. It's very simple,
Yeah. I think respect, that's the word. Yeah, we should respect all this different kind of customs. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing. That's otherwise it's okay. I think this will move on over a period of time. I don't think so there will be any religion existing except artificial intelligence.
Oh, sorry, Venky. My mother is just calling. Sorry, I must.
Yeah, no problem.
So you can hear some German now.
Yeah.
Ja, hallo, grüß dich. Ja. Ja, wie es meinst, das überlasse ich dir, gell? Okay, gut dann. Vierte, servus.
How do you greet in German? So, good morning.
Good morning, guten Morgen.
Good morning. I know only one word in German. Danke. Danke.
Danke.
Danke.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we know much about Adolf Hitler rather than the language.
Okay. Yeah, but that's normal. People, when I'm traveling, when I say Austria, many times I hear, "Oh, you have a famous man." People know it. Yeah.
Führer.
But that's normal. Yeah, that's normal. Definitely. Yeah. But I don't know the word thank you, danke in Hindi. What's the name?
Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad. I remember now. Okay. Dhanyavad. Yeah.
That is in Hindi.
Yeah.
In Telugu is also the same. Dhanyavadalu.
Uh-huh.
And namaste is the greeting. Hello
Namaste
is like
is the
namaste.
greeting. Okay. Yeah.
Anybody, if I in the first visit we want to greet each other, so I say namaste.
You say namaste.
Namaste is in Hindi. In Telugu, it's namaskaram.
So what do you, Venky, what do you learn in school about Hitler? What do you hear?
That's what. So swastika, that symbol is very auspicious. Like it's for good fortune or good thing.
Yeah.
So swastika. So even you will find the swastika symbol. That swastika symbol everywhere. Even we have a swastika agarbatti, the aroma, the smells, dhoop sticks.
Yes.
Is the swastika still existing in Germany?
No,
right?
No, if you use this, you get punished. You go into prison.
Yeah.
But I remember when we come when we come to your countries, we see the swastika, and they used SS. They used this because the swastika is a sign in your culture. It's a sign for strength, or what is the
Good
meaning of the swastika?
fortune, auspiciousness. The lot of positivity is there around that symbol.
And they knew this at this time, they knew that this sign has a positive influence to people, and they used it, or you could say misused it, for their own propaganda.
Yeah.
And they put everywhere the sign here, the swastika here, there, over the houses and so on. And that was the sign for the political party which brought Adolf Hitler up to power. That's called the SS. This kind of socialistic party, and that's what made him strong. And well, if you want to hear something, he was born exactly in this area where I'm living now, in Upper Austria. Austria is existing of 9 different areas, 9 small states, and he was born exactly in this small state where I'm living now, I would say, about 50, 70, 80 kilometers away from here. So just nearly my neighbor, you could say.
Yeah.
And he was born there. He went to school in Linz, where I also went to school. And then he went to Vienna to study art, something like that. And he was a very good artist. And then he started with his political ideas, and he was a good talker. And that was then in the early 20s, after the First World War. I must say, I'm also not a historian, but I think the political parties in Austria, they banned him. They threw him out of the country, and he went into prison in Germany, and that's where he wrote his book Mein Kampf.
Mein
Yeah,
Kampf is my struggle.
Mein
Yeah.
Kampf, My Struggle. Yeah, that's what he wrote there in the prison. And then I don't know. I think he was in prison in Bavaria.
Mm.
And then after 1, 2 years, 2, 3 years, I don't remember exactly, he was set free. And he didn't come back to Austria anymore. He was not allowed. But then his political career started in Bavaria, in Munich. He was a good talker, and the economical situation was not good here in Europe. Lots of unemployment, and people were struggling. They were hungry. They had no food after the war. They lost the war. And then suddenly there was somebody who promised them more or less everything, and they believed him everything. And that's, in the late 20s, he moved then up in this party, up, and in the early 30s, he took over a party, and then, in fact, he got strong really in Germany. And then in 1938, he decided to annex Austria to Germany. So for sure, I think in 1934 there was a civil war in Austria, and a minister was shot. So because they were against him. So, and then the next follower was more or less forced, I think, because Germany was stronger than Austria. So without any fight, they gave in at the end, and so Germany took over Austria. They occupied Austria in 38, and then in 39, Hitler started to
Poland.
start with Poland, from overnight, and that was the start of their war. Then really, that's how everything started. He had one headquarters in Bavaria, and his city was Berlin. That's finally where he also spent his last days, and that's where he shot himself, I guess. I think that was in Berlin then, that was then the end of the war, But that's the history of Hitler, but he's Austrian, he was born here, he spent his childhood here and his youth, and he was...
What about these mass killings, these genocides, killing everybody, extermination camps?
I don't know, but I think it's exact. I don't know really what is true and what is false, what was really happening there. But I guess what we know, that 6-7 million Jews were killed in this kind of camps. I'm sure this is true. I don't think it's exaggerated. I think it's not less. I think it's not more. I think that's the truth. That's what we hear here. And you see, and if you visit one of these camps, you still see how they treated them. And it's not so long ago. So it was definitely as cruel as it is described. They are cruel enough when you tell their stories as they were. But that was definitely the case, and many people were persecuted after this, and even in the 60s, I remember they found many people from this party. They fled into the foreign countries, because they knew when they get a trial, they will be dead. They will be dead and shot. Exactly. And even 20 years later, they captured a few, but also a few could manage it to escape. But I think they were not a lot. I think they captured most of them. I think around 95% they captured afterwards.
Yeah. These are the stories: Adolf Hitler, Joseph Goebbels,
Joseph Goebbels, Himmler, I think.
Heinrich Himmler, Karl Donitz.
Adolf Eichmann was also one of these guys. This is one of them whom they captured in Argentine. Or in Brazil, but only in the 60s, so about 15 years later or 20 years later, but they still captured him and they made him the trial. And he was prosecuted. He was
hanged in Israel or something like that.
Yes, even there, even there. Yeah, and then, in 1948, as you say, the state Israel was founded. I would say also as a result of the outcome of the results of the Second World War, because the Jews, they need somewhere a territory where they are safe. They need, and then for sure the whole Western world, they had the idea, because before it was a British. It was a British mandate, Palestine at this time. It was called. It was a British mandate, and then they decided to split it, and then all that things started. I think this is also one of. I think these conflicts, what we have there, are all results of the happenings before. This is. It was not it was not a solution where everyone was happy. Yeah. And then, things pop up again and again and again. Yeah.
And does this Hitler name exists in in that part in
No,
Austria?
I don't think so. I think many people changed their name. And let me check. But I don't. I checked it already a few times before. Yes. And let's say I put in the telephone book. I don't think it's. I'm sure. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. Everyone changed. Adolfs are still existing because many people, especially the boys who were born in the 39, 40, 1940, 1941, lots of Adolfs were baptized.
Yeah.
And even now, I think Adolf, this first name, Adolf, I never hear that somebody gives this name anymore. I think maybe in about 50 years or 30 years, maybe this name doesn't exist anymore. He brought a lot of, at the beginning, he built lots of streets, bridges. The infrastructure was at the beginning, before he started the war. Many good things happened. Also, yeah, he was in this time he was, or also the buildings he built for the people in the 30s. Still existing now, good quality, everything good quality, But then he, as soon as he started the war, he got crazy, and then it's always a very close relationship between genius and craziness, And I think he just didn't realize that he got crazy, and then that started, yeah. But still, if you ask the people, this is the weird thing, especially the elder generation, and even from the younger generation. You see in Germany, there's a party now, the right-wing party, which is called AfD. In these newer German countries, which was in former time the Eastern Germany, when the communism was still there, because after 1991, the communism, the Soviet Union was finished, and then also Germany got reunited with the eastern part of Germany. And in this eastern part of Germany, there's a right-wing party which has about 20%, and they follow this direction, or even in my country, I'm sure not everyone says Hitler was a bad person. No. This is still existing. And you have in every country, you have this left-wing party, you have this right-wing party, which are more against foreigners. Doesn't matter which kind of, if they are Jews, if they are Muslim, if they are any other kind of religion. This everywhere you have this. And,
anyway, it's over now. Now we'll talk more about your journey. Now let's jump into the travel part. How did you find Himalayas?
The Himalayas. Yeah, I was traveling between 2016 and 2018, 2.5 years in Asia. And I had talks here also in Austria. And many people always ask me, oh, you visited around 30 countries in Asia during the last 2.5 years. What was the most beautiful country? Oh, most beautiful. And then for sure, it's always difficult to say, because every country has its beauty, but then I had to choose, and I said to myself, okay, if you need to choose 3 countries, which was most beautiful, then I always said, for me, it was Nepal, India was one part. Then the second was Indonesia with all the islands. This is a different story. And the third one, what was the third? Myanmar. Myanmar. I liked also very much. Burma, exactly. So this but for me, the mountains, I must say, if I can choose between mountains and seaside, I always go into the mountains. So I'm also mountain addicted. And for me, the Himalaya was something very special because especially these three passes tour where we met each other actually in 2019. This is, if you sit on the what's the name? Ranjola, and you have Everest, Makalu, and all Lhotse in front of you, and everything. Not only these peaks, because sometimes you don't even know what is Makalu. Where is Makalu? It doesn't matter. One of them is Makalu, but all the area, and then you walk down to this lake, and then another time we went up in Kokyori to see the mountains again. Wow, this is something very special. I think I came up from because I went the three passes also clockwise, like you, and I was up at the Ranchola at 10 o'clock in the morning. We started very early. And I think together with one other guy, I was the last one who left Ranchola. I think it was already 2 or 2:30 in the afternoon. So we stayed nearly 5 hours up there together because I couldn't leave this place. And the whole area is just something very special, I must say. The monasteries which you visit then, and the people you meet. This is something very special, I must say. This is something really very special in the whole world. I never experienced this anywhere. And I must say, I'm sure I would like to go back again one time to this place.
So actually we met on top of Ranjola first time. Then after that we had a nice time in Gokyo. After that we had a very good time in Zongla. We crossed the glacier together. These rocks were falling this side and then that side. You remember?
I remember. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we were running. Exactly.
There's a lot of this moraine is just sliding down.
You were together with Saffron, and I was on my own, and there was a third Indian guy there.
Yes.
And I think he had a guide with him.
Yes. Naga.
This part.
His name is Naga.
Is he? I think he was at this time. He was in Australia. Is he back to India now again?
No, he became Australian citizen now.
Australian citizen. So he stays in
he stays in Melbourne, I think. But I'm in touch with him. So this is how it happened. And then we went up to Chola. That day we were together.
Which one? What was the second name of this pass? Chola. But that was icy. That was icy a little bit.
It was icy. It was windy and icy. It's like
windy and icy.
It was too much wind. And then you guys didn't have these crampons. The spikes were not there, and because of the cold wind, everything is like the hard ice.
Yes,
it was like quite a tough adventure. We were actually crawling on the ice.
I remember. For me, Chola was the most difficult pass of these three passes.
Yeah,
actually, yeah.
And we were making all these small steps with the food, and then walking crosswards. Not straight. Every step we sat down actually.
Exactly, yes. And then I remember, that was tough. Yes, that was tough.
And then there is this couple from one Spanish and Indian couple. They are without their spikes, and they they had a difficult time. So spike, we have given our spikes to them, and it's like that.
Yes, I remember. Yeah. But and then I remember we spent somewhere one evening together with other people. You remember
Yes.
that? There was this. Do you remember still this? Do you still remember this beautiful girl from Iceland?
Yes. Anita. She is the police officer, Anita. Her name is Anita.
Anita, are you
Yeah.
still in contact with her? Are you
No.
still in? No, but I think Saffron was.
So
Her.
she's so excited to talk to her and ask her phone number.
Yeah. And then next morning, I decided. I think I continued then on my own to another
No,
mountain.
actually, what happened, that time we want to make it quicker. We don't have time.
Oh yes, or you decided
So
to make a shortcut.
From Zongla, we went down to Lobuche, and the same day we went up to Kalapattar by the evening and came back to Lobuche. It was a
Yes,
quite long day.
yes, exactly. You had a different itinerary. Yes, I remember. And you walked then down, and I continued to the third pass actually.
And we went to third pass also after that. We went
Also,
to Kongma, third pass.
what's the name of the third one?
Kongma.
Kongma. Yes, Sorrentula, Chola, Kongma. Yes, now I remember. Okay. And from Kongma, but yeah, we lost each other because I think you were quicker than myself. I think then at this time you were in front of me then. And don't know how you experienced the Kongma. I met only one Russian guy who came towards me, but otherwise I didn't meet anyone anymore. Kongma wasn't very crowded anymore.
Not very crowded because it's difficult. Approach route is difficult. This side you have to cross the Kungbu Glacier. From that
Yeah.
side, it is like very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And it's long route. So we went to Kongma. There were only 3 people that day also.
Okay. Yeah.
Only
Not
3
people. Yeah. I also had one Russian guy. We ate some. He gave me a small piece of chocolate at the top. I remember. We spent about 15 minutes with each other, and then he went to the other direction, and I went down to the other direction. Yeah, beautiful. So I must say this area is really something very special. But I think I couldn't 5,000. What was the altitude there? 5,500 maybe.
5,535 meters, something like that.
But I think this is for me. Maybe I could, as we said before, that's for me the maximum. Maybe 6,000. I could, if there's a technically not so difficult mountain, then I could. But I could definitely not climb up a Manaslu anymore. I think I surrounded one time in 2016. I surrounded the Manaslu. It's a beautiful mountain, and I walked 2-3 weeks around Manaslu together with a guide because there is a guide needed for this trek. But I think this was also very beautiful hiking, and I went up to the base camp, to the Manaslu base camp also.
Yeah.
Where you have the mountain already quite close. And I remember when I was there were also some other people there who intended to climb the peak, but they were just waiting for the right time in their tents. And we spoke with them a little bit, and we drank tea with them. But they told us the big problem, but I'm sure you know this better than myself, but the big problem, they said, is always it's very windy up there. The Manaslu is supposed to be very windy.
It is. It's a very unpredictable climate.
Yeah.
See, it is like this. One year you will get fantastic climate. The second year it could be quite challenging. It is like that.
Yeah. And how was it for you? Was it this year or that year? Were you lucky or?
It was a good year. It was a fantastic weather conditions. no serious avalanches. Bad weather is there, but no, not many casual. No, I mean, casualties are not there, and there is nothing actually dangerous happened during that time.
Yeah.
But the weather was bad. It was cloudy throughout, but on the summit day, it was extraordinary. Clear sky and
Really.
very little wind, and then good energy levels.
A
Luckily,
gift.
it's a
A
gift.
gift. A gift.
A gift. I am actually, for me, above 5,000 meters altitude. Till now, nothing has happened. Till now, I mean, I'm very much okay above that altitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it difficult for you? Were you at your limits, or
No,
did you say
I could have, like, I could take some more tiredness.
okay?
I sat on the top. It was like normal. I mean, I didn't feel something really. I am losing my breath or nothing like that. It was actually so energetic. I was many people. My wife asked me when I came down. Everybody got so much of skin burns, blackness. I am like normal. The same thing. A little bit blackened because of the sun, but
Mhm.
see, that's the thanks to the mountain. So she helped me and then blessed me every moment. Took care of me very well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Great,
So like
great.
a shadow.
Congratulations. Congratulations. In which time of the year did you climb it? Which day was it?
September 28th, 2021.
Mm. 3 years ago in September did you climb. So that's a good
September.
time of the year to climb
Yeah, it's
Manaslu. Yeah.
a little less
All right.
snow, and a good window, weather windows, like you will get 3 to 4 opportunities for summit push.
Mm-hmm.
But in
Wow.
2022, the next year, it was disastrous. Like so many avalanches.
And probably
Again,
also
2022 was
many people die still
some
also.
people. Yeah, there are like 11 or 12 people passed away.
And 1 year later.
No one later.
Uh-huh. Because of avalanches, probably.
Avalanche. And when
Mm.
the avalanche didn't stop with one, it is like continuously hitting one by one, one by one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's happened. Yeah. So this is it was a good journey of you prepare physically strong, you become strong, mentally strong.
Mm-hmm.
It's climbing any mountain above certain altitude like 7,000, 6,500, or 7,000 meters. It is kind of penance, tapassu. It's called tapassu in our language. It is like that is a meditation. It is not just a climb. You need to become so strong within the mind, because the crevasses, crossing those crevasses or crossing the ladders, you look down. It is like 1,000 feet deep. Suddenly, it's like what
Mm-hmm.
drop, and then the breath is also less. Like you have to pump your heart so much, all
Mm-hmm.
these things. So for that you need preparation. It is a kind of a meditation journey of spiritual or personal. You will evolve, you will discover yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I need
Mm-hmm.
to discover myself to change to a common man, to
Yeah.
to a person, to a brave man who can scale those heights.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen so simply. I enjoyed the journey, but if I want to climb another big mountain again, I need to train myself. It is not like you train once, it will. No, it's not like that.
Did
You
you
have
get prepared? Did you get prepared for climbing Manaslu? Did you have some preparation?
yes, there is a preparation. I did good training in the plains in my place here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, Running, jogging, or speed running, slow running, long distance running. I don't know. There
Mm-hmm.
are so many running days, and
Really?
upper body strength. And then after that, mountaineering, training, knots, or four finger grip strength, and
Mm-hmm.
some skills, ice crafting, rock crafting, all that stuff. After
Mm-hmm.
that, I went to Everest Base Camp again for training, high altitude
Mm-hmm.
training. So
Okay.
I live. So you actually one of my mentor, he said like, you go to a high altitude, stay there, breathe the cold air for some time. Once you breathe the cold air, you make your lungs used to the cold air so that it will not give you a lot of trouble when you go to the base camp. To push the limits and then improve the stamina. So, and then came back and then went to base camp. First acclimatization rotation, I went up to 7,000, almost to camp 4, and came back. And then next time, within 3 days, summit push, and then came back to base camp. In 3 days.
Okay, in 3 days from the base camp. In 3 days you climbed up.
3 days.
So you spent 2 nights. You spent 2 nights somewhere between base camp and the top, or
2 nights. 2 nights. 1 night in camp 2 and 1 night in camp 4.
Wow. Incredible. And is it technically difficult, Manaslu?
Some parts are there, not the route. The route fixing team, they found nice routes. And that year, the mountain actually allowed people to come easily. Because 8,000 meters, there is an ice fall crossing definitely there is a big glacier we have to cross. And then there will be an ice fall. And then further, you have patches of vertical jumaring, like it is like 50 degrees, 55 degrees of gradient. And there are overhangs sometime. And then below the cornice, you traverse and then go up. Like that. There are different, it's a combination of high altitude trekking and then high altitude climbing. You need to be in the best shape if you want to scale above, scale a mountain above the death zone or above 7,000 meters. There is no choice other than being physically and mentally really strong.
And do you have the feeling, did it make you stronger in your daily life?
Definitely, there is a change. There is a change, but still Everest is there. It is even higher. So you live in the ground and then look there. Okay, this is not the last destination.
Did you see at the top? Can you remember? Did you see all the other 8,000 meter high mountains, or some of them? And did you look over Everest as well?
No, from Manaslu we can't see Everest.
You can't see.
I think so. It's like far.
It's far. It's too far. It's too far away. It's too far away. Yeah.
And Annapurna, you can spot Annapurna.
Yeah, but it must be beautiful. It's
beautiful. I can't forget that one.
And what you say? Are there any other plans that you have at the moment?
I have plans, but it's all about again money. It's expensive. It's an expensive deal. So I'm working on that part. I want to climb this mountain, and then I will think of it. That's not going anywhere.
If you had the money, which one is on the top of your list?
Not particularly 8,000 meters, but I want to climb good. I want to spend good amount of time climbing mountains, like real alpine style climbing. Probably with one single partner, we open our own route and then climb like that. But for that, you need mentally, you have to be like so strong, and physically also you have to be, because one mistake is game over. So for that, let's not hurry. First, get the money properly and then plan it, prepare it, get well trained, and then go. Until then,
you climb without oxygen. You climb without artificial oxygen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to climb without oxygen only, but Temba, my mentor, he said like, I will not allow you go without oxygen. I will give you one oxygen bottle. So spare for emergency purposes.
Okay.
Yeah. But given a choice, I will not take oxygen cylinder. You don't have it, so you don't have a choice other than to live.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is the thing. So this is how
Yeah.
it happened. After that, yeah, a lot of changes. Once you reach certain level of physical fitness, you have to uh, go forward rather than. So now I am trying to push, build more strength, build more stamina, more endurance.
And what is your partner saying? What is your partner saying when you are, you have a partner, you have a small baby girl, and there are some risks, there is some danger that something could happen. Uh, how do you agree on this?
She is afraid that I take a challenge, and then she's afraid that I should come back in the middle, leave and come back in the middle. That's the fear.
Mm.
You take
Yeah.
it up, you finish it, and come back. Otherwise, don't come back. That's what she said when I went to Manaslu.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is something a really encouraging statement, and also something it's really personal. When my baby is born, I thought I don't want to be like mediocre anymore. I want to when she grow up, and then when she looks at me, you know, she should look me like something. He's not an ordinary man.
Hmm.
That is
Hmm.
another intention to pursue adventure also. So now
Okay.
we come back to this part about your walking journey. See,
Okay.
normally in India, age when you are reaching close to 60s, that is like old age here. It's like, okay, finish. My life is done. I am done. But you are getting stronger, and then you have actually made this extraordinary travel in your life about walking from your place to, like, how much? 2 years of walking. And then that consistency is actually inspired me. Please give some insights about that journey, and then what is your experience and what did you gain from it?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, it was about 18 months, so 1.5 years that took me down to from Austria to Jerusalem, and I walked actually also back from Jerusalem back home to Austria again. So it was about 9,500 kilometers, and for me it was always, as you say, age is a big question. Yes, I think. I think here in Austria and in many people I know, some other people who walk there, I think age shouldn't be the problem. I think it's mainly a psychological thing that I think from physically, I think many people can do it. They are in their shape is good enough to walk every day 20, 25 kilometers, or I walked around 30 kilometers sometimes. And if you don't feel so strong, you start slowly. You walk 10 kilometers, 15, 20. So I started very slowly to get used to hike, and after 2, 3 weeks, you don't feel so much anymore. At the beginning, I had some problems with my muscles because when you are not used to it, then you feel your muscles, you feel your body. But after 3, 4 weeks, you don't feel anything anymore. You get trained, you get used to it, and then I think it's mainly a psychological thing that you're always doing it again and again and again. That for sure, you have your lows in between. You have when for instance, I got blisters on my feet, and then every single step hurts a little bit, and then you think, oh God, what I'm doing here. But then, I think it's always good if you take a rest, if you take a shower, if you have a nice bed somewhere to sleep, if you have a nice dinner somewhere, then the next morning the whole world looks different again. So I think the age, I'm getting 60 next year. I think the age shouldn't be a question. I saw people walking with 70, 75 years old. So I think you can do it for a longer time. It always depends in which shape you are yourself, how you live. If you smoke, I don't know, if you smoke 50 cigarettes a day for 30, 40 years, then probably your shape is a little bit different. A healthy way of living definitely helps also. And then otherwise, but yeah, walking is wonderful. And why did I start walking? I thought myself, we met in the Himalayas, and when I compared it, and when I was traveling 2.5 years in Asia, I was always doing a kind of mix between traveling by train, traveling by bus, then walking 200 kilometers again, where I thought it's nice for walking. And then when I came back after 2.5 years, I thought myself, when were you most happy? Were you most happy when you were sitting in the train? Were you most happy when you were sitting in the bus? Or were you most happy when you were hiking and walking? And then the question was, no, I was most lucky and happy when I was walking. So I thought, okay, why not just leaving the other things then? Why don't just stop going by bus? Stop, reduce the other things which you did not like. You still liked it, but not so much than walking. And that's how I came to walking, and that's how it brought me to the idea. Let's just walk now. Don't leave the buses, leave the trains, just walk. And then I thought, okay, where could I go? And where have I not been so far? And for sure, it must be somewhere, a destination which is reachable within a certain amount of time. I knew I had so and so much time. And then I thought, okay, Jerusalem. Somehow, I think I saw somewhere a book, or was it a speech, a talk from somebody else who walked down there. Then somehow this idea grew in my head, and then I walked down there, and I must say it's the best way of traveling. I found out you see much more. You meet people. You travel slow enough, I must say, to see all the small details on the way. We always think we see more when we travel by car or by plane. In fact, the whole environment flies around you, and you don't see anything. I think you see more when you have a smaller area. You cover a smaller area, but you see at the end, you see more. You are traveling slow enough. You meet people. You can talk to people. The people start talking with you, or especially when you visit them with a backpack on your shoulders, when you're sweating, then the people see you in a different way. They don't see you as a tourist. Yeah, okay, you are still a tourist, but they see you as someone like them themselves. They treat you differently, and I was never so much invited like during this travel. When you walk every day, many invitations, even if it was only a small chai or for a lunch or sleeping. Sometimes I only asked for water somewhere, and then they said, okay, here you have water, but you don't want to eat something. And then I ate something, and then it was getting late, and then they said, okay, now you can also sleep here. And that's the nice thing. So I had the feeling that every person that saw me, I saw only the good things in the people. I opened the good part of everyone. So everybody was so helpful, and then after 8 months I reached Jerusalem. And then I stayed 3 weeks in Jerusalem to recover from hiking. And then I walked back, and it took me 10 months to walk back. So I got always slower and slower. I like slow walking, and then I even didn't go the direct way anymore. I I took some extra kilometers just to see something. I was going like zigzag. We didn't go the straight way. I was zigzag, and I knew I have still some time, and it's beautiful. I think the most important thing is you have time. Yeah, you need to, or you time we all have, but you have to take the time, and you have also some. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need a fortune to go to Jerusalem or to hike, because I slept in the tent most of the times, and the most expensive thing is actually is the hostel or the hotel. The food, you can get food somewhere always quite cheap somewhere. You can live quite cheap. So, but yeah, it's a wonderful experience, and
Where did you start, and what are the countries you visited in between?
yeah, well, I started here in Austria in this house where I'm sitting now. That's where I started, and that's where I went back again. And I went from here to Vienna first, and then from Vienna onwards to Hungary, and from Hungary southwards to Serbia. Serbia was the next country. Then to Kosovo, which is independent from Serbia since 2008. Then to Northern Macedonia, over to Greece, to Saloniki. So that's where you reach the seaside at the first time. And that's about a third of the whole way down to Jerusalem. So that's a good thing. And and then I walked along the coast in Greece over to Turkey. And then I stayed 3 months in Turkey. I crossed the whole Anatolian Altiplano, and then I walked down to Syria, to the border to Syria. There I realized that I couldn't proceed because still of the problems that are inside this country. So the borders are closed, and there's no visa for this country. So I thought about walking through Iraq. Then also Iraq, I heard that there is ISIS. There is ISIS. So so that's also not possible, Iraq. So I knew, okay. And over the sea, it was not possible because by ship, you couldn't go to Israel because of the pandemic, because of COVID. They stopped all the passenger transport. And so I knew, okay, the only possibilities, I sat into a plane and flew from southern Turkey to Jordan, to Amman. So I flew over Syria. It's about 500 kilometers. And from Jordan, I continued to walk to Palestine, West Bank, and then to Jerusalem. And that's where I stayed 3 weeks. And then I decided to walk back home. And first I walked further down through the Israel desert, Negev desert, where the problems actually are now, down to the Red Sea. So Egypt and Saudi Arabia was very close already. Then I crossed over to Jordan back again and walked through the Jordan desert up to Amman again. So I was two months in the desert in Israel and in Jordan. Wonderful experience. Silence, sky, stars on the skies, which we don't see so clearly in our area. Silence, wonderful area. was for sure also the hardest part of my journey, the desert, but also the most beautiful part. And then from Amman, I flew back to Turkey again. From Turkey, I took a ship to Athens, where I met another friend of mine, whom I met in Africa a few years ago. And from Athens, I walked back home, the Balkans, Balkanic countries like Albania, Montenegro, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, Slovenia, back to Austria. It's about 1 year ago. Yeah, about 1 year ago. But it's not really difficult. It's as I said, I think it has something mainly to do with your brain, that you get used to live in the tent, and also that you get used to be not to have a shower every day. There are people. There are people who say, okay, I like hiking, I like walking, but in the evening I need my shower and I need my bed. And if it's like this, then it's not. I think it's better you don't do it. But otherwise, if you don't need this necessarily, then it's the most beautiful thing that you can do. But for everyone, something is more beautiful than the other thing. But it's actually a way of living, you could say. You can live in this way. You don't need a lot. My backpack had 7 kilos without the water and without the food. And within these 7 kilos, I had a tent with me, I had a sleeping bag with me, a mattress, I had a cooker with me, I could cook myself a soup or whatever. So you don't need more than 7 kilos. And with 7 kilos, you can walk around the world. It's a nice thing. But for sure, it's something different than hiking a mountain. It's something totally different. It's not as difficult, I must say. It's just walking, you don't, it's not really difficult, and you have a lot of time. You have many hours every day. And people said, wow, you walked 30 kilometers every day on average. And I said, well, you don't do anything else. You are walking, you're eating, you're drinking, and you're sleeping. And you are meeting people. So it's just, you get into a rhythm, and then you don't see it so difficult. You just live on the street more or less. And you just follow your path. Every day you choose your path, and you don't have a fixed destination. That's the best thing that you can do. If you travel without a fixed destination, you don't know where you sleep. You don't know where you get your next food. That's the best way of traveling.
What about health? Are there any health issues?
Health issues. I had blisters the first summer, but because of a blister, first of all, you don't die, and you don't stop walking. It's just hurting a little bit. And the second thing was in the desert in Jordan, I had an eye infection. So suddenly overnight, both eyes were closed more or less. And I couldn't open them anymore. And just a little bit after 15 minutes, putting lots of water on the eyes, I could a little bit see again. And then I went to a doctor. He gave me antibiotic eye drops, and within 2-3 days it disappeared again. But otherwise, okay, my feet, you can feel your whole body for sure, and some muscles, and you can feel especially. But otherwise, I was fine. No problems.
Drinking water, you had normal water or bottled water? Packaged drinking water or normal?
Both. I had both normal. I start with normal water. Most of the times, I must say 90%, I drank normal water from the tap. I had some pills with me, where you can disinfect the water. I never used one of them, I must say. I never used them. I had them with me just in case, but I never used them. A few times I bought mineral water in the shop, or a few times, especially in the desert when a 4-wheel drive passed by, they gave me some bottles, mineral bottles out from their car, or from any, when somebody helps you. This is normally then mineral water. But I think 95% of the time I drank normal water. And it's good. Water is mainly coming. For sure, you must taste it before, you taste the water. You know this anyway. But normally the water comes from the mountains. If you see where it comes from, you get a good feeling whether it's okay or not. But it was always okay. I never had one time in 18 months a J.R.R. or some problems with the toilet, So I was always fine at this time. You get stronger and you get more trained, and even the bacteria, you always, the hygienic things is not always the best, but I think the bacteria, they make you stronger. They make your stomach stronger. And one time your stomach does not get used to everything, but to most things. And this way I had never fever, no problems actually so far. And it was always safe also, I must say. People also ask me, did you encounter any dangers there? Did somebody rob you or steal something from you? It never happened to me. I felt very safe all the time. It's as I say, it's not difficult. I enjoy life here also now again here back home in Austria, and I make talks now. I make speeches about this travel, and people like it. I think that people are interested very much what you experience when you are walking, especially because it's also a physical experience and psychological experience. Nearly everyone can do it, It's I mean, you climbed Manaslu, you can do it 5 times in a row. It's not really difficult. It's a way of living, One guy, a friend of mine, he's walking from North Cape, from the northern part of Norway, to the Cape of Good Hope, to Africa. And at the moment, he's half Iraqian, and he walked through Iraq just a few months ago. He was fine. He's in Kuwait now at the moment. And he said at the end, it's not difficult. We just walk from one supermarket to the other one. And it's true. Yeah. We are not crossing, we are not traversing the Sahara. But, we normally you walk somewhere where you have some places where you can recover again, where you can get some supply for food, for drink, for your energy. You must recharge your batteries, your mobile phones, and so on. These are the things that you have to look, and that's how also your route normally is determined. You don't bring yourself into unnecessary dangers unless you are looking for it. But I'm not looking for dangers. I try to minimize the risk if it's possible somehow. But in fact, most of the people can do it. It's actually just do the first step is always one of the most difficult, but then you do the second and the third. After the first step, everything gets easy.
So, are your talks like how you schedule your talks? Are they available online if somebody wants to join?
No, actually, no. I hold them in German language. I thought about this to do a streaming, but yeah, so far we have not thought about this. Yeah, it's only, I do the talks in my area here. It's last time there were 250 people in the audience, which is a good number. It was very well because it was the first one. Now next week on Thursday I have the second one. Maybe 150 people will come. So it's a quite small audience, 100 people, and that's it. I'm not planning it to do it worldwide, and I it's actually more a local thing actually. But yeah, some friends ask me already, why are you not streaming it? But then, okay, then you have to change the language also, and then in your audience, 100 people are sitting inside, and then most of them don't understand English. So then you get a problem. Maybe a separate talk only online, and in English for only the English speaking friends, for instance. Yeah, but maybe. Yeah, that's a good idea actually. Yeah. We'll see.
What about the future projects? What are you doing next year? What are you doing in 2025?
Yeah, I don't know. In 25, I think I will be in Austria. I think most of the times. Maybe because in springtime next year I have still some talks here which are scheduled already. Then during summertime I'm sure I stay here. Maybe next year October, like now November, maybe I start somewhere else traveling again, but I don't know yet where it will be. I have no clue.
So one last question. If I ask you to give a message to the present day world, what is your message with all your experience?
Live your dreams.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's incredible, George. Mr. George, I met you, thanks to the Himalayas, and I am really inspired by your nature and your bravery. I mean, your fearlessness, and I'm really honored to host you today. One day I will pray the cosmos that we meet again once again in our lives in an adventure, and then share our exciting experience together. That's what I can say.
And thank you very much, Venky, it was an honor for me as well to be part of this interview, and also an honor for me to get known to you 5 years ago and to still stay in touch with each other. And I also hope we see each other again one day, wherever it is. Thank you very much.
So today is the first day of winter and the Festival of Lights in India. It's called Diwali.
Yeah.
In my language, it's called Deepavali.
Okay.
Diwali. So happy Diwali.
Yeah, thank you. And happy Diwali for you as well. Happy Diwali, yeah. All the best for your life. All the best for your life and for you and your partner and your small daughter. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Venky. Take care.